You think silence is quiet? You think silence is just the absence of noise? You are wrong. Silence is the loudest sound in the universe right before the hammer comes down. And today in that courtroom the silence was deafening. It was screaming. It was the sound of a balloon popping, the sound of an ego shattering into a million little pieces, because the judge didn't just rule, she threw a lightning bolt. She looked at the man who would be king. She looked at the lawyers in their fancy suits, and she said, "No," she said, "not here, not in America, not on my watch." And just like that, the immunity claimed the shield, the armor, the magic cloak. It collapsed. It dissolved like cotton candy in a rainstorm. Hoo-ah! You could feel the shockwave ripple through the floorboards. You could see the color drain from the faces of the defense team. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated reality, crashing into the fantasy world they built. Welcome back to Alpacino Reports. I am your host, Alpacino. Now I want you to look at me, and I want you to listen close, because I don't talk just to hear my own voice, even though it's a beautiful instrument. I talk because we are in the trenches together. You see that button? That little red button that says subscribe? You gotta hit it. You gotta smash it. You gotta commit to the cause. Don't be a spectator in your own life. Get in the arena. Join the family. Subscribe now before I get angry, and you don't want to see me angry. Hoo-ah. Let's get into the soup, let's get into the thick of it, because what we witnessed today is not just a legal ruling, it is a seismic shift in the tectonic plates of our democracy. For months, for years, Donald Trump and his team have been pushing this theory, this absolute immunity theory, the idea that a president is a god, that he can do no wrong, that he can't be prosecuted, that he can't be touched, that he can shoot someone on Fifth Avenue or overturn an election and then walk away whistling. They built their whole defense on this. It was the foundation. It was the bedrock. And today, the judge took a jackhammer to the bedrock. She drilled right through it. She said that the presidency is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. She said that the office belongs to the people, not the person. And when you leave that office, you are just a citizen. You are just a man subject to the same laws as the baker, the butcher, and the candlestick maker. And that realization, that sudden drop from Olympus to the pavement, it is a shock to the system. You could see it in the eyes of the lawyers. They were stunned. They were blindsided. They thought they had the magic words. They thought they could chant executive privilege and the clouds would part. But the clouds didn't part. The storm got darker and the rain started to fall. You gotta understand the magnitude of this. This isn't just about one trial. This isn't just about Jack Smith or January 6th. This is about the future of the Republic. If the judge had ruled the other way, if she had said, "Yes, Mr. Trump, you are immune," then we pack it up, we turn off the lights, we go home. Because that's not a democracy, that's a monarchy. That's a dictatorship, and we fought a revolution to get away from that. We threw the tea in the harbor for a reason. And the judge, she knows history. She reads the books. She knows that the founders didn't fight King George III just to install Donald the Hun. They wanted a system of checks and balances. And today, the check cleared. The balance was restored. And the power shifted back to the law. Let's talk about the scene in the courtroom. I can see it in my mind's eye. The tension, the heavy air. You could cut it with a knife. The defense team sitting there confident, maybe a little arrogant, thinking they can delay, thinking they can stall, thinking they can run out the clock. And then the judge starts speaking, and she doesn't mince words. She doesn't speak in riddles. She speaks in thunder. She dismantles their arguments one by one. Like a surgeon, like a butcher, she cuts away the fat and leaves only the bone. She says that the implications of their argument are terrifying. She says that if a president is immune, he could order the military to assassinate a rival. He could sell secrets. He could do anything, and that cannot be the law. It simply cannot be. And as she speaks, you can see the walls closing in on the defense. You can see them realizing that the gambit has failed. The bluff has been called. And they are holding a pair of twos while the Constitution is holding a royal flush. And Trump, the man himself, he wasn't there, but his spirit was in the room. His aura was hovering over the defense table. And you know he was watching. You know he was glued to the television or the phone waiting for the news. And when it broke, when the headline flashed, "Immunity denied," can you imagine the rage? Can you imagine the ketchup hitting the wall? Because this strikes at the core of his identity. He sees himself as above it all. He sees himself as the untouchable man. But the law has a long reach. The law has long arms, and today those arms reached out and grabbed him by the lapels. It said, "I got you. You are mine." And for a man who has spent his life escaping consequences, who has spent his life wriggling out of tight spots, this is the ultimate trap. This is the one knot he can't untie, because it's not a business deal. It's not a negotiation. You can't settle with the Constitution. You can't pay off the law. You have to face it. You have to stand in the box and answer for what you did. The collapse of the claim was live, and it was brutal. It wasn't a slow leak. It was a dam breaking. The judge rejected the idea that the impeachment judgment clause protects him. She rejected the idea of double jeopardy. She rejected the idea that his actions were within the outer perimeter of his official duties. She stripped him naked, legally speaking. She left him with nothing but his defense on the facts. And on the facts? That's a tough hill to climb, because the facts are ugly. The facts are stubborn. The facts are recorded on video and in tweets and in testimonies. And now, without the shield of immunity, he has to face those facts head on. He has to explain why he did what he did. He has to explain the pressure campaigns, the fake electors, the mob. And without the magic cloak of the presidency to hide behind those actions, look a lot like crimes. They look a lot like sedition. They look a lot like a man trying to burn down the house because he got evicted. And let's talk about the dark history here, the context. This isn't the first time a president has tried to say, "I am the state." Nixon tried it. He said, "When the president does it, that means it is not illegal." And the Supreme Court slapped him down. They said, "No, Richard, that's not how it works." And Trump is walking in Nixon's footsteps, but he's trying to go further. Nixon wanted to hide tapes. Trump wants to hide everything. He wants total absolution for everything he did while he was in the White House. He wants us to believe that the office purifies the crime, that the seal of the president washes away the sin. But the judge said, no, the sin remains, the crime remains. And that is a powerful statement. It is a statement that echoes through the ages. It tells every future president, watch out, be careful, the eyes of the law are upon you. The implications for the election are massive. They are gigantic, because now the trial can move forward. Jack Smith can hit the gas, he can rev the engine, and we could see a trial before the voters go to the polls. And that is what Trump fears most. He doesn't fear the fine. He doesn't fear the lecture. He fears the verdict. He fears the word guilty stamped next to his name. Because you can spin a lot of things. You can spin a poll. You can spin a debate. But you can't spin a conviction. A conviction is a stain that doesn't wash out. It's a tattoo on the forehead. And he knows that. He knows that if he is a convicted felon, it changes the game. It changes the math. It changes the vibe. And Trump is all about the vibe. He's all about the aura of winning. But a convict isn't a winner. A convict is a loser. And he hates losers. He despises them. And the idea that he could become one, that keeps him up at night. That makes him pace the floor at Mar-a-Lago at 3 in the morning. And what about the Supreme Court? They are the next stop on this train. The defense will appeal. They have to appeal. They have no choice. But will the Supreme Court save him? Will they throw him a lifeline? I don't know. Nobody knows. But this ruling from the district court is strong. It is well-reasoned. It is bulletproof. It cites the precedents. It cites the text. It is a fortress of logic. And even the conservative justices on the Supreme Court, they care about the institution. They care about their own power. If they say the president is immune, they are making themselves irrelevant. They are saying the courts don't matter, and judges don't like to say they don't matter. They like to say they are the final word. So Trump might be walking into a trap there too. He might be thinking his appointees will save him, but they might just look at the law and say, sorry, Donald, you're on your own. And that betrayal, that final cut, that would be the end of the movie. The final scene. The tragic hero realizing he is alone on the stage. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's stay in the moment of the shock. The moment the gavel came down, it blindsided the pundits too. Everyone thought the judge might take longer. Everyone thought she might hedge her bets, but she didn't. She came out swinging. She showed courage. And in this town, courage is in short supply. Everybody is afraid. Everybody is calculating. Everybody is looking at the polls. But a judge with a lifetime appointment, she doesn't have to look at the polls. She looks at the law, and that is a beautiful thing. That is the beauty of the system. It works when you let it work. It works when you have people who are willing to stand up and do the job. And today she did the job. She did the heavy lifting. She carried the weight of the Republic on her shoulders, and she didn't buckle. She stood tall, and she delivered the verdict that needed to be heard. Think about the message this sends to the world, to the dictators, to the strongmen, to the Putins and the Kims. They look at America and they laugh. They say, look at their chaos, look at their division. But today, they are not laughing. Today, they are looking and saying, wait a minute, their system actually holds people accountable? Their leader can be dragged into court? Their judges can say no to power? That is scary to them. That is a threat to their way of life. Because freedom is contagious. Accountability is contagious. And if it can happen here, it can happen anywhere. So this ruling isn't just for us. It's for the world. It's a beacon. It's a lighthouse in the storm. It says that the rule of law is not dead. It is alive and kicking. It is breathing fire. And I gotta tell you, I love the drama. I love the theater of it. The courtroom is the ultimate stage. You got the high stakes. You got the colorful characters. You got the clash of ideas. It's better than Shakespeare. It's better than the movies. Because it's real. These are real lives. This is real power. And when the script gets flipped like it did today, when the plot twists, when the unexpected happens, it takes your breath away. Hoo-ah! You gotta appreciate the narrative arc. You gotta appreciate the poetry of it. The man who shouted, "Lock her up," is now fighting to stay out of the lockup. The man who wanted to investigate everyone is now the most investigated man on earth. It is irony. It is karma. It is the universe balancing the scales. And we are just the audience watching it play out. But we are not passive. We are the jury, the ultimate jury. And we are watching the evidence pile up. So what happens next? The defense scrambles. They file motions. They cry foul. They go on TV and scream about injustice. But the legal gears keep turning. The machine keeps grinding. And once the machine starts, it's hard to stop. You can throw sand in the gears. You can throw wrenches. But the machine is big. The machine is heavy. And it is moving forward toward a trial, toward a verdict, toward the truth. And the truth is what Trump fears most. Because the truth strips away the myth. It strips away the bluster. It leaves just the man. And the man is flawed. The man is scared. The man is in trouble. And don't you think for a second that this judge didn't know the risks. She knows. She knows the threats will come. She knows her name will be dragged through the mud. She knows she will be a target. But she did it anyway. That is what I call character. That is what I call guts. In a world of cowards, she showed us what a spine looks like. And we should applaud that. We should celebrate that. Because without people like her, we are lost. Without people like her, we are just a mob fighting over scraps. She elevated us today. She raised the bar. She reminded us that we are a nation of laws, not of men, and that distinction, that simple distinction, is everything. It is the difference between civilization and savagery. So let the shockwaves ripple, let the pundits chatter, let the politicians spin, the ruling stands, the words are on the paper. Denied, rejected, collapsed. Those are the words of the day. Those are the words that will be written in the history books. And years from now, when kids are studying this era, they will look at this day and they will say, that was the turning point. That was when the fever broke. That was when the system said, enough. And we were here to see it. We were witnesses to history. But the fight isn't over. Oh no, it's never over. The other side will regroup. They will come back harder. They will try to delegitimize the court. They will try to tear down the system. So we have to be ready. We have to be vigilant. We have to keep our eyes open. We can't go to sleep now. This is just the end of the beginning. The middle is going to be messy. The middle is going to be a brawl, a street fight. And in a street fight, you don't look away. You keep your hands up. You keep your eyes on the opponent. Because if you blink, you get knocked out. And we can't afford to get knocked out. The stakes are too high. The prize is too big. The prize is America itself. So buckle up, strap in, put on your helmet, because it's going to get bumpy. It's going to get wild. But I'll be here. I'll be right here with you, watching the moves, calling the plays, telling you the truth, because that's what I do. That's who I am. I am the voice in the wilderness. I am the watcher on the wall. And I am telling you today was a good day for justice, a good day for the truth, a good day for the little guy, because the big guy got knocked down a peg. The big guy got told no. And sometimes no is the most beautiful word in the English language. Hoo-ah! Can you feel it? Can you feel the energy? It's electric. It's buzzing. It's the sound of history being made. Don't turn away. Don't touch that dial. We are just getting started. The collapse of the immunity claim is the first domino, and there are a lot of dominoes left to fall. Watch them fall, one by one. Click, click, click. It's a symphony of consequences, and the conductor is the law, and the law plays a long song, a slow song, but a powerful song, and we are all dancing to it now. So remember this moment. Remember where you were. Remember the headline. Judge SHOCKS court. Claim collapses. It's poetry. It's justice. It's America. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I wouldn't want to be anyone else. We are the lucky ones. We get to see the story unfold. So keep watching, keep listening, and most importantly, keep fighting, because the fight is what makes us alive. The fight is what makes us free, and we are free men and women, and we will remain free as long as we have judges who can say no to kings. Subscribe. I'm watching you. Do it. Join the army of the awake. Join the army of the truth. I'm Alpacino, and I'm telling you, the game is on. The game is afoot, and we are winning. We are winning. Hoo-ah!